Welcome to the class, Effective Presentation Skill for Engineers and Entrepreneurs. This course has been organized by the International Institute of Entrepreneurship Development, which is a part of ASEES DC. My name is Sinha, Dr. Ranbir Sinha. Where is presentation skill needed? Whenever you learn something, you should know where it's going to be used. I'll show you some examples of where the presentation skill is needed. When you defend your BTech project or thesis or MBA project, you need presentation skill. When you go for a job interview for an academic or research position, you need to make a presentation, most likely on your area of research. When you present a technical paper at a conference, you need presentation skill there. If you go for a seminar, if you have to deliver a seminar or a lecture, you need presentation skill there. If you want to become a teacher, science teacher, or engineering professor, you need to make presentations in the classes. Where else do you need? You have to think. You have to think. Here are some more examples. If you want to start a company, start a business, you have to make presentation. You have to write a business plan and make a presentation, the summary of that plan, to customers, venture capitalists, business partners, banks, okay? If you are applying for a grant, you have to write a proposal for some research or project funding, and you have to make a presentation. You need presentation skill there. Presentations to your group, suppose you're a group manager, group leader, you have to make technical presentation to them or to higher management. So therefore, an engineer, an entrepreneur needs to learn and practice and master presentation skill. Without that skill, your presentation is not going to be good and you will not achieve your goals. So take this seriously, develop this skill, presentation skill. Generally speaking, presentations, seminars, and lectures share a lot of things in common. The style is nearly the same. It starts with an opening, a powerful opening to impress the audience, then body, where the details come, then a conclusion, then of course, question answers. Let's say you have 45 minutes of presentation, you spend 5 minutes, the opening of the presentation must be very impressive. So here are some points. You can start with a thought-provoking question. A big problem. Let them think. Let the audience think and come up with something. That wakes them up. They get interested. You can start with a story, relevant story related to your work, or an anecdote, your personal story, some real experience which relates to the topic you are going to talk about, or the material you're going to present. It could be a story of an inventor, of an invention. It could be about a problem that you're trying to solve. Okay? A real story. Humor I would try to avoid Once you become very famous, you can start with humor. Otherwise, people do not take you seriously if you start with a humor, although this has become a trend. In formal presentation, try to avoid too much humor. In casual presentation, of course, humor is allowed. If it is a series of seminars or lectures, you can start by reviewing your previous lecture. That's what I usually do. What has been taught in 1 or 2 lines, I just summarize that one, and that becomes my opening. The objective of the lecture should be included in the opening. The objective of the lecture and the application, whatever you're going to talk about, where that's going to be applied. For example, I opened my presentation today by asking you where the skill, presentation skill, can be applied. And I give you 7 or 8 points. This is how the opening should be. Body, this is where the details go. An introduction, the work you have done, detailed work with pictures and figures, theory behind your work. If you have come up with a new theory, new equations, you should put in some of that. Experimental data, if you have some initial result, you should put that, but not in tabular form, more likely, preferably as charts and plots that people understand, very well labeled charts and plots, okay? People like pictures, they don't like to see through hundreds of elements of data, okay? Every 10 or 15 minutes, you should pause during this part. Interact with the audience. Ask to solve a realistic problem if it is a class lecture or seminar, okay? Very short problems. And interact by asking some questions, let them ask some questions too, or you can avoid that part and postpone that till the end. Applications you should show during this main part of the presentation, the body. Applications where it's going to be applied. Bring some videos. Show some hardware if possible, if you have created some hardware, okay? Give a demo. These things are interesting. Just listening to long lecture with a lot of text is not very interesting, okay? The idea is to impress the audience so that they are awake, they listen to what you are saying, understand most of it, and take something away from it. That's the objective, okay? Experiment with teaching using reverse engineering. If you are giving a seminar or lecture, this is a very powerful method. Bring a piece of hardware, open it up, show some components, then show the theory behind it. PTFL, product first. First show the product. Students or audience get excited. Then theory later. Product first, theory later. They should know where it's going to be used. Do not start writing some equations first. First tell them where it's used, then go into the theory. Innovative ideas. If you have some innovative ideas, how this, whatever you are presenting, can be extended, some new products can be made out of it. Similar to it. Throw in those ideas too, towards the end of the body. Closure is equally important. All three are important. Opening has to be very powerful. Closure also very powerful. Body normally gets into the details. Closure, about 10 minutes you should spend on that. If you have 45 minutes presentation, 10-15 minutes of question answer maybe. So summarize what you have talked about, especially in the body area. What came out of your presentation? Then give the handouts and homework if necessary. Do not give the handouts in the beginning. People start flipping through the pages and don't listen to what you have to say. So your presentation is not going to be effective if they are not concentrating on what you are saying. Okay. References you should give. And what's next? What new things can be done? How are you going to extend your idea? Ask them. Ask the audience, where do you think I can apply this? See what they say and give them some time for a question and answer. Finish your presentation with a quote, a powerful quote, something related to what you said, or something to take away, and they will remember that. This is the essence. People will not remember all the details that you talk about, but they'll remember one or two things, either a powerful picture that stays in their mind, powerful quote, or a statement, something that they would remember for a long, long time. That yes, this is what I understood and I remember from this presentation. It was a very powerful presentation. Okay? Go over this video a couple of times, make notes, and implement that. That's very important. Just listening to my lecture is not enough. You have to implement some of these points in your presentations. How do you prepare? How do you prepare? Write down your objective. Your objective is not the same thing, the objective that you say to the audience. Your objective is to get something. Either you're going to transfer your knowledge to the students or to the audience, or your objective may be to get funding for your project or for your business. So that's your objective. That must be fulfilled. So prepare in your mind that I'm going to come out of this presentation successfully fulfilling my objective. Okay? Keep in mind the target audience, who you are talking to. Sometimes you have to tweak your presentation. If the target audience is technically expert, you got to make your presentation somewhat more technical. If the target audience are not experts in your field, they are, say, venture capitalists, you have to impress them in a different way. You got to talk more about the market, the influence it's going to have on the society. Okay? Things like that. Keep that in mind. What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to impress? Okay? Now, prepare the outline of your presentation on a sheet of paper. It makes you think, gives you time to think. Okay? Make a nice flow in your outline. What are you going to say first? How does it relate to the next one? How does the next thing you are going to talk about relate to what they know? Prepare a nice outline and the connections on a sheet of paper. Then rearrange your outline. No, it looks like this is coming too suddenly, this part. I have to give an introduction to that, introduce that. So rearrange that based on relevance. Then you go on to preparing your slides. You have to make very good looking slides, okay? I can give you some references. Use a good template, large font size, good color contrast, and color. Do not make it ridiculously colorful, okay? Make it look professional. Fill essential text in your presentation. Add charts, figures, pictures, etc. More of those things. Less of text, only essential text. Very short text. People do not like to read. They like to look at picture and get an idea. Correct all the mistakes. There should be no mistake in your presentation. Spelling mistake, grammar mistake, nothing. Number, definitely not. After that, once you're satisfied with your slides, then rehearse 5 to 10 times. Then make mock presentations. First rehearse on your own. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Okay? Then make mock presentations to your friends or a group of colleagues. Then keep refining. Then record it. Make a video recording of that. Watch yourself. You're the best judge. Okay? Keep modifying. Keep modifying. 5 to 10 times is minimum. I normally practice about 20 times before I give a presentation. Okay? During the presentation, real presentation, you have to act active or be active. You have to act very active. Absolutely serious about what you are going to say. Okay? Do not take it casually. You have to show your interest. The first impression really counts. So dress properly, postures, stand straight, confident, looks on your face, smile gently. All these things go under posture and gesture. Okay? Act active. Do not stand at one place and talk like a robot. You have to act active as if you are really into it. This is the most important thing. Conviction. You have to know what you're presenting. You have to be convinced yourself. You have to be convinced that this is very important. That excitement has to show in your presentation. Okay? Watch some of my presentation. Okay? And see how sincere I am about what I do. That's why it shows on my expressions. Show honesty, passion, and commitment that I am going to do that. And it's up to the audience to join in or not. They will. Once they see how excited you are, how important it is for you and for the society, they will join in. Voice modulation. Voice modulation is important. Do not make it flat and boring. Common sense. People get bored very quickly. So you have to show the emotion through the voice modulation. Okay? Very important things. Say them louder with excitement. Details of the equations, you can say a normal voice. Okay? Eye contact is very important. Look at the audience. Do not look scared at a corner, or do not look only at the presentation material. Look at the audience and make just enough movement, not too much movement. Also, do not stand stiff at one corner. Just enough movement, hand gesture should be there so that the audience looks at you. Okay? Interaction with the audience is important. Once in a while, you have to interact. You have to ask them some simple questions to keep them awake. If somebody asks some questions, you have to interact with them, answer them. You cannot say, sorry, I'm going to answer only at the end. Do not want to offend them, okay? Some interaction is important. Overcoming the stage fright. Many people have stage fright. This is one of the tricks I can tell you. Put a friend far away in the audience. And look at that friend and talk to that person. Only that friend you're talking. You're walking up and down, left and right on the stage, but you're looking at that person. Because that person is a friend, you will not be afraid. You're talking only to that person. And because that friend is far away, your voice will be up. You will not talk too softly. Okay? So this is one trick that works. Try it. There are other tricks too. The best thing to do is practice, practice, practice. When you are on the stage, you'll forget a few things, but because you have practiced a lot, it will come back. Okay. So remember that trick. Plant a friend far away in the audience and talk to that friend. After you give a few presentations, you'll get used to the audience. The stage fright will go away. First time it's always difficult. Self-improvement. Find 2 or 3 things that you could do better in your presentation. Every time you make a presentation, think about it. Oh, I'm forgetting a lot, so I have to make detailed notes. Or I'm too stiff. Or I'm talking too much details. Audience is getting bored. Write down these points. Work on the weakest points. It's 1 or 2 of them, okay? From this slide, I want you to remember this. What I'm saying now or doing now is the most important thing. If you have that in your mind, whatever you do, you're going to do it very seriously. It's going to show, an audience is going to appreciate that. This person is putting so much effort and sincerity in this presentation, this idea must be good. Okay, this topic must be very important. Whatever I'm saying or doing now is the most important thing. It's not only true about the presentation, that's true about nearly everything that you do in your life, okay? A few tricks, a dozen tricks for effective presentation. Keep the theme very specific.